That never happens. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fright Reads Author Talks. We had a little bit of a hiatus because, unfortunately, actor Chris O'Brockie had a monstrous schedule, pun intended. So it was kind of nice just to have an extra week off. Um, so we had an event happen this past weekend, halfway to Halloween. We're a couple of days from that, and slowly recovering. Uh, the author I'm about to bring on, Dan Jones, was one of the authors at the event, probably equally exhausted. We're all recovering from it, but we're going to talk some monsters and stuff. So, in the meantime, drop some questions in the actual comment section. We'll be able to actually respond, react, and communicate with you, and answer them live on the fly, which is kind of cool. Um, if you haven't done this before, or if you forgot what it was like 2 weeks ago, that's what we're able to do. I'm just making sure I can share this video off to and Q&A. All right, we're going to go ahead and send that to the main page, make sure we get all the interaction we can get. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in the creature author himself, Dan Jones. There we go. Yay.
Yay! Oh, man. Good
Yeah.
to be back.
Yeah, good to be back. We did this years ago, and you were one of the few people that we've fought through this thing and talked about books. But you had just one book at that time.
Yeah.
You had just the one. Since then, now you have a sequel and a, I want to say, in universe but standalone story. It's
Out
the
of
same
universe.
vibe but different book.
Yeah, so that was definitely an experience. Hydra's Wake, it's done better than most indie authors can ask any book to do.
Pull that up here. That
Yes.
one, sort of.
So- uh, that image just never gets old. Every time I throw it online, everyone's like, "Holy crap, that's awesome!"
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I see it whenever, like, so at other bookstores when I know your stuff is going to be there, I always see it and I'm like, that is a beautiful book cover. The contents could be absolutely garbage, but when they one of the things that everybody tells you is never judge a book by its cover. If
By
I'm
all
judging,
means.
this is the cover. This is the cover to judge by.
Yes.
Um,
By all means.
you get some of the this looks like the 1950s and 60s sci-fi fantasy covers where they were just, you feel like somebody sat there with a paintbrush and just did brush strokes and painted this masterpiece. That's what it feels like. Like it should be stop motion animation from Harryhausen. Um, that's the level that this looks like.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we obviously we can go through a brief run through of like your different books,
Sure.
but we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, we are.
So since we have this pulled up, obviously Hydra's Wake and Hydra's Wake 2 Electric Boogaloo, um, all of your books have a central theme, and they have to deal with monsters.
Yes.
Um, why? Why
Well,
monsters?
they've been a large mythology and cryptids have just been a large part of my life. I grew up as a military brat, going all over the world. Born in California, I've lived in Japan, Germany, New Mexico, the United Kingdom, and in all of those places, you've got different histories, different mythologies, and it was the monsters from those stories that made it to where I was able to connect, relate, and so on. Get through moving place to place every 4 years.
You know, you were in a different school every 5 minutes, but dang it, Godzilla was there for you.
Yes, that was it.
Yeah, Godzilla and King Kong had your back.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, so obviously traveling around, and what's really great about today, there's the internet, and you can just look up this stuff. But when you especially like early 2000s, I'd say pre 2008. I think 2008 is when the internet became pretty much what we have today.
Yeah.
I say pretty much, and somebody's going to go, well, we have, yeah, but the internet as we know it today is basically 2008 to present.
Yes.
But prior to '08, the internet was kind of a funny thing to navigate. I mean, Google hadn't really come into its own until what, like 2005, maybe? Like, we didn't just
Yeah.
Google it up until the mid 2000s. So, you being able to travel and see, you got to go to Japan, you got to go to New Mexico, you got to go to all these different facets of the world and learn about their culture, learn about the lore. You get to hear about, so for example, we read a book in our book club and the character mentions the kukui. So if you don't know what a kukui is, especially in written form, you don't know it's basically the boogeyman.
Yep.
But you have that advantage because you've been around everywhere, and somebody probably in passing mentioned that. So, do you feel like that multicultural experience with the monsters really fleshed out Hydras and the rest of the books?
It gave me a basis of what I could do with just about anything. And with monsters, I mean, the most common of them all is dragons. Everywhere you look, dragon, 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 dragon. So my
Well,
goal is to
that's literally all of your covers. Well, that's not a dragon. That's a cat. That's a cat. That's a winged cat. Slightly different, but they all are very dragon-esque. Chimeras and dragons, and most of them are flying. Is it the flying creatures that does it for you? Is it that added aspect of there really is nowhere to go?
So Hydras, I've kept them ground-based, and the three monsters that I've got works in progress for, they're actually ground-based too, which is exciting. Yeah, it's interesting to work with the different animals. I chose the Hydra to start with because that's one that, yeah, most people have a chance of recognizing that isn't a dragon.
Sure.
Disney's Hercules, okay, the thing spitting out multiple heads, and Octopus Hydra from Marvel.
So, I mean, the Hydra and obviously the evil faction. Hydra is pop culture wise
Something that could be recognized. Yeah.
Yeah, they know what this is. Hydra isn't a mystery.
Yeah, versus something like the Archon mount that was on that last cover.
Yeah.
Japanese mythology, flying lions. That's not something too many people are going to really know much about.
Yeah, and other variations are like the Chimera or something like that, where you have a flying cat creature of sorts, or like, you go to Egypt and you got the Sphinx, which has cat-like properties.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of these like deeper cut things, but the Hydra is very common. People know what that is. Thank you, Hercules. Thank you, Zeus. All this mythology that's been beaten down in so many television formats. But yeah, the Archon is not something that it doesn't come up in conversation.
No. The only people who might even recognize the word are people who play Magic and are familiar with Archons.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not going to glance over at my stack of cards, but but yeah, that's the only reason. I was like, oh, okay. I actually never made that connection until right now.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, yes, the Archons, the Magic card. Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I just thought it was, not that it was your own original thing, but I never made the correlation between the cards and that. Little fun fact. See, people are learning.
Yes.
They're learning.
And that was actually how Hydra's Wake started too, is right around the time Theros was a thing. Hydras were all over the place in the sets. And I was playing Friday Night Magic at the place on Baltimore Annapolis Boulevard.
Games and stuff, right?
The other one, the smaller one.
Well, they had a games and stuff, and then they moved the games and stuff.
Yeah, there's another one that was called
There's the
MTV
other store.
First at the time. You know where the 7-Eleven is behind the dealership? By
Yeah,
the
so
school?
it's the other
Yeah,
store. Okay.
down that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I was playing there, and my opponent and I were like, the way they make these hydras look is pretty fucking awesome.
Right?
How come they're not used in like movies and such? And that was kind of like where I was like, you know, I've got a story in my back pocket that I could turn into something that uses a hydra as the central thing, like a
Yeah.
creature feature. And that conversation led to one thing to another, and all of a sudden I had a draft of 110,000 words ready for going through the process.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
wild when you have an idea and you can go from, yeah, this will probably be 20, 30,000 words to, oh crap, I just wrote the Grapes of Wrath.
yeah. We scaled it back though. Editing was
Yeah.
very choppy with that one.
Oh, I bet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think it ended at like 89,000 words or something like that.
Still a lot of words. But when you have something that, not to say fantasy usually errs on the side of longer,
Yes.
but in terms of, like a Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones type of stories, or even, God forbid, you try to read The Witcher,
Oh gosh.
uh, chapter one was like 500 pages long, and I'm like, I'm done. I need a stopping point. Come on, Gerald, let's go.
Yeah.
Um, but books like that, they err on the side of larger.
Yeah.
They're you're building a big world. You're building. Not only do you have to give us this new universe, because you're not building it within the United States or
Yeah.
Earth as we know it. Um, you're building new. You're basically doing the Elder Scrolls game. You're building this entire fictional universe that will likely build on itself.
Yes.
So you need to establish languages, lore, mythologies, beliefs. Did you, when building, I'm sure you have a few primary like towns and civilizations in your story.
Yep.
Did you base that stuff off of just things that you liked, or were you just kind of winging it and making up new stuff?
So with regards to the Wake series, a lot of them are like isolated situations. The Hi Brandy.
Hi, Brandy.
So they all start out with the main characters crash landing in the most remote places possible.
Okay.
And from there, they have to
And then
survive.
there's a fog, and then there's this monster that's in the fog. No, wait, that's Lost.
Yeah, no, it's kind of the same scenario where your options are okay, try to run if you can. And if you can't run, then what the heck are you going to do against something the size of what that is?
Yeah, I mean, how are you going to fight a dragon? Like, what do
Yeah,
you? They don't train you for this.
no.
And I actually had this discussion with one of my old army sergeants, because my book has to also deal with monsters as well.
Yeah.
Um, they don't train you for this. You train to fight somebody that looks like me and you.
Yeah.
Um, but they don't train you to fight dragons and giant like demonic monsters, things like that. So everything that you've trained for, all of that that combat training, they teach you to do like the conventional warfare. You get your spears, your bow and arrows, your rifles, whatever technology that calls for it in the story. And you're fighting people type of targets and mannequins and
Yeah.
dummies. And then all of a sudden here comes Godzilla over the hill, and you're just like, yeah, you know what?
And that actually happens in the books too with the Wake series. Guys who are capable do show up, and then they look at what they're up against, and they're like, yeah, about that.
That's always just fun. Um, yeah. So when you were building the world themselves, did you make up any languages, or is it all just English? Because I know like Tolkien would create like Elvish and all of these other things, and like really not just build the world, but build the world.
Yeah.
Did you do anything like that, like build lore that you just built from the ground up? You were just pulling it out of the air?
There is a lot of. I've laid seeds throughout the whole thing for development further in the series. And even in the second book, I've taken advantage of some of those to blossom, grow, and expand. There's hints at other languages, there's hints at other cultures, um, different political mindsets. So
Okay.
you get a melting pot of a bit of it. But when push comes to shove, you're still a human being up against that. And it boils everybody down to the core, and based on that, you either get through it or you don't.
So are you looking at more of, without like trying to just dissect your entire plot, where somebody would be like, "Oh, I understand this book now. I don't need to look at it." Is it more like so one of my it's such a bad movie, but the movie still holds up, and that's The Hill I'll Die On. But Reign of Fire,
Okay.
I'm sure it's on your list of movies you watched. It involves a dragon, so I figured you were there. Um, Reign of Fire is a Earth. It is here and now ish. I don't know, here in 1990 now.
Yeah.
Um, but it's present day. There's no alternate reality. It's here. People discover dragons, decide to poke their eggs, and whoops, we Jurassic Park some dragons. Turns out we can't fight dragons, and dragons basically just this is the zombie apocalypse, but with dragons.
Yep.
So is that more or less people are just trying to survive while these hydras exist? Is that what it is? We're in this like Reign of Fire posts whoops we made dragons era? Is that where
So,
we're at in your story? Or
so I'll dig into it a bit. With the world of Yaraputs, it's a twin planet world that share an atmosphere. So in the center, you've got the planet Heart. It's heavily colonized. It's got most of the civilization. And then there's a plate-like planet just kind of orbiting around it in close proximity called Shell, which is very wild, very large. It's sparsely populated, and most of the industrial things like mining, manufacturing happen on that part of Europuts. And because they share an atmosphere, you can travel between them using airships, dirigibles, planes. So the main character is actually a dirigible pilot who owns a shipping company that moves special needs freight between them. So that's
is that
just
the
your.
guy? That's the guy here. Is he in his little
Yep,
he's
that's
just
pretty
trying
much
to he's just trying to do his job.
yes. And then shit happens. Poor
He's
him.
just trying to get his Amazon package there on time. It's
Yeah,
next day shipping, and I got a dragon. What am I supposed to do?
yeah, yeah. That
Yeah.
hexagon isn't getting where it's got to go, unfortunately, or
Well, I
fortunately.
guess you'll have to wait to get those leggings.
Yes.
So you said that there are people that are able-bodied, but nobody is quite prepared, either mentally or physically, equipment-wise, whatever the deficiency is. Nobody's quite just battle hardened. Nobody's the John Rambo of dragon slaying. You don't have a Van Sant
No.
type of character, do you? Like, there's just a guy that's just like, the Quint.
So
Like, I'll get your shark for you.
yeah. So what I've actually done is the bad guys. They're a competent military team. The
Sure.
bad guy, human bad guy himself, practically has the whole twin world system under his thumb. He's a sadistic torturer who gets information and trades it. And he's equal opportunity. If he's stolen from you, you can buy from him. And he's cool with that. He won't hold anything against you, but if someone wants something from you, he's getting it.
Yeah. So you
So,
got you got to contend with the Hydras and the humans.
yes.
Just can't win.
So, But the Hydra rules everything here, and so do all the monsters. What the Hydra does is it uses a paranormal hallucinogen to hunt,
Okay.
and it emits this
Ghost gas.
toxin from its body. And once you breathe it in, you become dimensionally linked to the Hydra. If you run too far, you fall into a coma, and you can't wake up until it gets close enough to you.
It happens.
But while that's going on, like 1 minute I can grab this, the next my hand's just going straight through it, like it's not even there. And some things you see, some things you don't. The whole your surroundings, the way you interact with everything just changes.
Your entire
So,
dimension is just shifted, and reality is just warped.
yep.
I'd rather
And
deal with the giant warlord guy. I'll take my chances.
yeah,
Best he's going to do is maybe like shoot me or stab me, throw me off of a tower. Maybe I'm not going to like fall through a ceiling because he sprayed a gas in my face.
yeah. And that's what everybody, even the bad guys and the good guys, are dealing with. So it's like at that point, it becomes every man for themselves. And
Sure.
even these super competent henchmen, they look at this guy who dissects people alive, and they're like, you know what? You don't have an answer for this. We're gonna go do our own thing. See ya.
Yeah.
We're not that afraid of you right now.
Yeah. I'm less afraid of you than I am the dragon.
Yeah.
So you say that it has like this gas
Yep.
that it can emit. Have you dabbled in the idea, if you have already, of somebody trying to harvest this gas for maniacal humany reasons?
Yes. So
Excellent.
that
Because obviously the second that they're like, wait, it secretes something that we can use, kill it.
yeah.
Perfect.
So everybody has there's I laid seeds for that almost immediately.
As soon as you
And
said it shot out some kind of like hallucinogenic gas, I was like, yeah, they're already trying to like suck this out of the dragon.
yeah, the bad guy introduced in the second, she isn't there very long, but we meet her. She is the actual serious bad guy who is orchestrating efforts to weaponize paranormal animals.
Hmm. Okay.
And in the second book, Archon's Wake, let's see.
You got a long one there.
Yeah. Thanks for helping make my first time as a vendor such a positive experience. Nice to hear more about your craft and imagination. Benjamin, we're glad you came. Yeah. Benjamin's cool. We like him. He was
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I've been enjoying. I tried to look at everybody's books last weekend and see what everybody had going on, but I'm glad. One of my favorite things is authors helping authors. We're not here to be like, oh, I'm better than you. Get good, scrub. You'll look over and go, bookmarks would be a great thing. Just
Yes.
put that in your basket, and
Yeah.
take care of that later and try it for the next event. We're not here to just keep all of our secrets and all of our cards to our chest.
No.
If it's working, I mean, that's why we have panels for how to do this stuff.
Yep.
But I'm glad that you were able to help your table buddy out and getting that all taken care of. But yeah, so your lady is making
She's
making.
joining the fun here. What's my favorite animal to write about?
Let's see. We'll pull that up here. What's your favorite animal to write about? Velociraptor.
Oh,
Franchise.
there's a story about that I'll speak of one day, but that's not this day. Anyways, right now it would have to be the Groot slaying.
Okay, for those that have never seen your stuff,
So
explain that to everyone.
so this is a project that I'm working on right now, and the animal that I've created, it's just way too much fun. Um, it's so overpowered that I actually had to kill off the entire first cast. And it's like, all right, I love what I wrote. I love the creature design. I'm not scaling it back, but the ordinary people just were not uh, the power scale for it just wasn't there. So we're going to get a rescue team in who is better able, and
So you just clean slate your opening cast, which is a couple of movies do that,
yes,
where you think these are the ones that are going to go the distance, and
yeah,
then they just scorched earth, and you're like, oh, those weren't the guys, and then there's always like one guy that's like like Aliens.
yeah,
You have like one person that survives it,
yeah.
and the rescue team. Not that the Marines were much of a rescue team by the time they got going, but
Yeah,
they always stumble upon that one person that has just seen some things.
yeah,
So you have this entire, not quite a trained team, but just in the wrong place, wrong time.
yeah,
Had a bad day, and
yeah.
then they have the trained hit squad come in. Are they going to be any more efficient, or is it just a slow burn of a numbers game?
So they'll actually be able to do something. So the first cast, yeah. So the first team, they're a bunch of explorers. They're landing on a new planet that's habitable, and they're going to explore it. They're all science, research, and first contact discovery.
Okay.
And when they get to this really swampy region, um, the dome they set down to operate out of offers very little protection for the apex predator that they're going to run into. And that is called the Groot Slang. Now, the Groot Slang comes from South African mythology, and it's a giant snake with the head of an elephant. Trunk, tusks, the flappy ears, and all.
This is fine. Yeah, this is completely fine.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to fight an elephant snake.
Yeah, so the eyes are diamonds, so there's a lot of diamond connections in the real mythology. It's actually limited to one specific cave called the Wonder Hole, and people have tried to go in and explore it. And I mean, the Groot Slang is a legend for a reason. So yeah, super cool stuff. I took that animal and I put it on an alien world, scaled it up a bit, and gave it some surprise paranormal powers. And
made it too damn powerful.
So one of the things that it does is it has these spines along its body that it can shoot, and they're venomous.
So like a porcupine, but with poison.
Yes. And when you get pricked or stung by one of these, the venom is a super concentrated LSD. So you're instantly going on a acid trip where you see sounds, everything's.
You can hear colors.
Yes.
So you describe this thing as this giant snake elephant thing, and it has these spikes. How big are the barbs supposed to be? How big are these spikes? Because I feel like the LSD means nothing because I'm going to get harpooned.
They're about this big.
Oh, so like a pen or a paintbrush, something.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm expecting like something larger. So they're going to be like a blow dart from a blow gun, just a little bit bigger.
Yeah, they're not meant to do the actual hurting damage. They're meant to disorient the prey so that it can go in and do its thing.
Okay, yeah, because I'm thinking, you described the scale of it, and I'm like, dude, that's got to be like a spear going through you, and you're like, I'm dying, but I'm tripping balls right now.
Yeah, no. I've already written some funny things, like this one guy that gets pricked. He's wandering through the swamp, and there's a crocodile-like animal in the water ahead of it. And what he sees is the world's cutest puppy. And the guy's looking for him just out of the blue here. I want to pet the water puppy! As this guy just sprints towards him.
him.
Yeah. They're not going to find him.
I
Unfortunate.
might find some of him,
Oh,
maybe a
what?
boot, you know,
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So you're a fan of these giant monsters, and I know we brought up earlier, inspirations from like, obviously the easy go-tos or Godzilla.
Yeah.
Um, what are some of your top tier like monster movies, whether it's kaiju or a Bigfoot movie or any of this cryptid stuff? What are some of the top tiers that you go to?
My number one is Tremors.
Hey,
Yep. That's
Tremors is a franchise that got weird real quick.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, it's not in a bad way, but
No.
like in the Tremors universe, it's the only time that you can have a creature fart itself into the air, and you go, that checks out.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, of course, that's the next stage of evolution.
Um,
So is it Tremors 1, or just as a whole, you just love being in that world? And if they made a TV show for the next like 87 seasons, you'd be there for all 87 seasons?
oh, I'd be there for the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's one of the few franchises that is just the perfect blend of comedy, action, and horror.
Yeah.
Um,
There's few that do a good enough balance where it's not, late night sci-fi channel cheeseball. And my God, the Tremors is like right there on the cusp. Like one bad joke and it would just plummet down that cliff. But it just teeters
yeah.
right there perfectly. And it's just scary enough. The effects are good.
Yes.
I mean, good for when they came out. I mean, they're not terrible now. Practical is practical and it always works.
Yep.
They always age well. Um, but like even the performances, like they took themselves serious but didn't make over the top personas, but they also did. But you're gonna have that one crazy gun nut. You're gonna have people that make dumb decisions, people that don't know what to do. Um, I haven't seen Tremors in a while, and I'm like talking about it now. I'm like, dude, I gotta watch Tremors. Like even just number one, I haven't seen 2, 3, and 4 in 100 years,
Yeah.
but I think I saw Tremors 1 probably in the last like 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen the rest of them since 2000s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
It's just something about those stories.
They're very. If I could nail the blend that they mastered, that would be awesome.
Man,
But
like not too many
that's a
movies
tall
do
order.
it, and not too many movies do that right because you get a few that have the same action and thrill with the same level of intensity,
Yeah.
while also being funny. I mean, you got a couple, Shaun of the Dead,
Yes.
obviously not a monster movie, but similar, in
Yeah.
that vein of
Zombies.
it's a horror movie that's just as gory, if not worse, than some of the Dawn of the Deads and of the
Yep.
Dead series. It's funny as hell because and it's heavily quotable.
Oh yes.
But it does nail the action too, and you get that you're excited. This isn't like, oh my god, what a movie, this is stupid. You have that, pretty much any of that, like the World's End, whatever, the Cornetto trilogy is pretty much in that vein
Yeah.
of action oriented but also hilarious, but also this is a thrilling situation to be in. um Starship Troopers is probably another one that nails it.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
It because I also think it has to deal with the directors looking at the original Heinlein book, and he goes, well, while I respect this, no,
There's
I have a different story I want to tell. So
the
it's
book.
the would you like to know mores and the just the crappy propaganda. Like I'm doing my part. That's hilarious to me.
Yes.
you have all of that, and then like 5 minutes later you have a character getting impaled and like carried through the air, and another one getting their brains sucked out, and like then there's action and they're just firing bullets and grenades and everything. It is a very perfect balance. However, if you watch Starship Troopers or even Shaun of the Dead, they don't teeter as close to the line of late night sci-fi channel as Tremors
Yeah.
does. Tremors is like they saw the line and they were like, what if we stood on the line and had our toes just dip little by little? It's just cornball enough. I think, and I think that's what works for it, because like you look at a movie like it's not like intentionally this way. It's just some of the stuff. I don't know if it was the capabilities at the time, the writing, something just didn't mesh, but it ended up working out. It was that like lightning in a bottle moment. But like a movie like Rubber, have you
Yeah.
seen that one? Oh man, what a fun movie! It is such a great film, though.
Yes,
You
it
you
is.
roll the tire around, and it's just borderline cheeseball enough that you're just like, oh my god! But then it's good.
Yeah.
Like it's somehow you're watching it and you're going, the hell am I watching? And you get to the end of it, and there's just it's M. Night Shyamalan couldn't write the twists that you get for this movie. And it's just as like the premise is just stupid. It's a tire that has telekinetic powers that can explode the mind. And it's sentient. And it like the premise is just stupid. Somebody spent $50 to make this movie. They bought a tire.
Oh,
Bought a
recently,
tire and a camera.
that reminds me, recently I did a writing challenge where the prompt was sentient sunburn cream.
Sentient sunburn cream. So
Yes.
how does that even work? Like, is it like a flesh-eating bacteria, maybe?
I mean, there are multiple ways that you could do it. You could have, I think one of the entries that was, or the ideas that was floated around was Satan coming up, starting a hair products company or a skincare company, and just creating this sentient sunburn cream from hell that
Luciderm. You're welcome.
does stupid
That's what it's
things.
called.
One person took a radioactive goo and turned it into a thing. The direction I went was Space Jurassic Park. So what I did was I took so you know the idea of primordial soup, right? The chemical composition that formed all life on Earth.
Mhm.
So I created a company that recreated the primordial soup of alien worlds and took the creatures born from there, used their DNA to make new products in our world. And
This will end fine.
yeah, so they've been able to unlock genetics in new ways that we've never thought possible. They've been able to make a few miracle drugs from it. They've cured a few cancers and done XYZ. But they've come up with this idea of making people resistant to the sun, like no sunburns, no skin cancer from sun radiation, things of that nature. So they developed this sunscreen cream that you just rub on your skin, and it alters your skin's the cell's genetics to become resistant to the sun. Um, pretty cool. No sunburns ever.
Perfect. I see nothing that could go wrong with this.
Yeah.
What time does the dinosaur park open? I see no problems with this.
Yeah. And then it turns out that this particular skin cream in the human test turned the test subjects into something reminiscent of like the Halo flood.
See, that's fine. That's a marketing standpoint.
Yep.
Did you like Halo? Would you like to be Halo? And people will order it.
Yeah. These gooey zombie things just turned up the streets. Yeah. It was a wacky prompt, and I somehow made it work.
Yeah, I love getting like weird when you get prompted to do something for writing challenges with groups and just seeing what, you thought you came up with something. But then some of the stuff that the other people come up with, you're like, what is wrong with you? Like, where did that even come from out of left field?
Yeah. Oh,
Looks like Ryan has done a wave. He did a wave, and then he will unwave. I'll close that back off.
yep.
We still have time, so if anybody has questions about the book, about monsters, about anything really, or Tremors, especially because that's a passion here.
Yes.
So I watched the live video that I took at halfway to Halloween, and just every time I cut back to a particular creation on your table, I was just like, howdy. And like it would just like come out of nowhere, and I don't know why I was laughing so hard rewatching it. Like, so stupid, just like
The camera angle you hit that at, it's just too perfect.
because you don't come at it straight on, because then you can't tell what it is, but you got to come at it at like an
Yeah.
upper side angle, and you just see it's like howdy.
Yep.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun Saturday.
Oh,
Halfway to
yeah.
Halloween, aside from the fact that it rained sideways for about an hour. Oh man, that was. I watched a guy. He's like, "Hey, where can I go smoke?" And I was like, "Oh, out these doors and through the double doors." And he goes, "Oh, okay, cool." He walks past me, maybe 5 seconds, and he comes back in. And I'm thinking he just went out there, lit a cigarette, and just sucked this thing down to the butt, and was just like, "It's that kind of day." I said, "That quick, man?" And he goes, "No, it's nasty out." So I opened up the door, and I was like, "Yeah, that'll do her." Because I was wondering where everybody was for a bit, but then as soon as it cleared up, the waves of people kept coming back.
Yeah, they did. It was
Yeah.
a really good turnout, and people call it a dead mall. Shame on them.
Well, I mean, it's not a dead Fright Reads, that's for sure.
It certainly was not.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to have I announced anybody that you just went, yes? Has there been anybody on the list between, we got Beatrice from Nightmare on Elm Street, you got Jane Jensen from Tromeo and Juliet, or anybody that you just been like, yes, even the Pokemon lady? I'm not going to judge.
Oh man, I've seen a bunch of the announcements, and I'm like, this is getting better and better and bigger and awesome. We're hyped.
Right. Yeah. It's going by on the ticker right now. You can cheat and be like, all right, well, let me stall for time until the name comes up. But obviously the guys from Super Troopers getting the rookie Rabbit.
Yeah.
I love everything that any of those guys touch. They're good at what they do. And I love Club Dread, and I just had to get Stolhansky in. And anybody that has seen that movie, again, that's another one that teeters on that fine line of good to just like, wow, this could be something else. But every time that you start going, God, this is hokey and cheesy, they hook a left turn and they've got you again. Yeah, but I had I mean, I don't know if you like Trauma films, the old Toxic Avenger people themselves.
Oh yeah.
But aside from Jane, I also have Lloyd, who was one of the founders and creators of all things that are Trauma. One of the co-conspirators to create Tromaville. Yeah, so we got a lot of really awesome people, man. And
yes.
Did you see today? I had Tara Buckman.
Yes.
Right, like that's so cool. I was like, yes. She just started doing the con circuit.
That's exciting.
I'd be like her third or, I mean, depending on what she does between now and then. But as of today, I'd be like her fourth convention.
That's awesome.
So somebody told her, like, you should go out and meet the fans. And she dabbled in it for one event, and people just went nuts. They were like, oh my God, I loved you in Cannonball Run. I loved you in Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yep.
And we had Linnea Quigley a couple years ago.
Yes.
So if you got a movie poster signed or something, not just of her, you could get that signed and have 2 signatures on Silent Night.
Yes.
So yeah, Ryan just said Club Dread is his favorite movie by them. It is also my favorite movie. I don't know, it's tied with Super Troopers, and then very closely followed by Beer Fest. So yeah, I mean, I'm just
Beer Fest.
I'm personally excited by the guests that we have. I book people that I want to meet. That I want I'm excited. So today we had Tara Buckman and Michelle Santiago both
Yeah.
announced, and Michelle was. Have you seen Stream? It's a horror movie called Stream. It's new. I'm going to say it's brand new, but like as of right now, it's probably like a year or so old. But Stream, and of course the Terrifier 2. Who doesn't know what the Terrifier is? Um, and I'm sure you watched Fallout when it came on.
I actually
Yeah.
am one of the few people who haven't.
What? What?
Yeah.
That's got creatures that you like in it.
Yes, it does. It does.
So
It's
it's
on my
your favorite
list.
thing.
Yeah. So
She played one of the culty vault dwellers when I think it was like episode 4 or 5 or something kind of in it.
yeah.
I don't know. They usually do like 10 episodes now, 8 to 10.
Yeah.
It was like the middle episode. She comes upon a vault and business as usual. Everybody's fine. They're all fine. But it turns out they're not all fine. She was one of the not all fine culty vault dwellers.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool, and she's a fantastic person. I'm excited to meet Frankenhooker. Like I think she was one of the first people I locked down. Patty is such a fantastic human being. She comes in dressed kind of like Frankenhooker. She's got the purple on. She still does the crooked lips and the so I'm excited. I think this is going to be next level. I know that I just brought in a ghost hunting group.
Ooh,
We haven't had that in a while.
no.
Since 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think our first and second year we had a ghost hunting group out of Baltimore City, and I think they have since dissolved. It was a Mobtown Paranormal, and I think they dissolved, and I was like, all right, well, moving on, and Get Haunted will be coming to hang out with us. We're gonna have musical performances. Oh my god, it's gonna be so much fun. We're gonna have I think Howard's gonna do like 80s rock, 80s and 70s rock. We're talking like maybe the Clash and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see what kind of set list he puts together. We're gonna have a lot of cool stuff going on. So I'm excited. And unfortunately, it's not all in the same room like it used to be. So you can't just look up and look over.
Yeah.
You'll have to maybe venture from your table.
Well, we have to grow.
We do. But I just like having it all in the same room so nobody misses out. You can just stand at your table and be like, all right. And watch, like you guys didn't get for Halfway to Halloween, you didn't get any of the performances that were on the stage. The floor that was wooden.
I mean, we were right around the corner there.
Well, you were around the corner, but you didn't get any of it. You were out of earshot and couldn't watch it. What a shame. And you did. You missed out on a hell of a performance. The play that was written was fun. The werewolf panel was absolutely just ridiculous. D was, I mean, this guy, you'd think that he was like a lycanthropist. Like this man like studied werewolves. He's the Van Helsing of werewolves.
Yeah.
He knows his werewolves. So
Yep.
we had a really good time out there on the stage.
Yeah, I was walking around during his set. I caught like a few lines of it.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean that's some of the stuff that we bring in. So you've done this. This will be your 4th year? Did you do the one dayer a couple years ago when we were at Benfield? Or were you there?
Not as a vendor. I've actually been to all of them, but the first 2 I was a guest at.
Yeah, you attended, and then You were there for the Clerks year then.
Yes.
Okay.
Clerks was my year one with you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
I've
because I was
been
like, I've seen
to,
you around, but I'm like, I don't remember if you had a. I know you didn't have a table in one. That was super easy to remember.
yeah,
There were like 15 to 20 tables.
Yeah.
What a manageable amount. Why don't we go back to those days? But yeah, we had. I mean, it went from 15 to 20 tables. One of them was a giant gaming area, and I asked the guy to bring in like horror type of games, and he was like, "Okay, Super Smash Brothers." I was like, "Close enough." He
yeah,
had Super Smash Brothers and Mortal Kombat. Those are the games. I was
yeah,
like, "Whatever, dude." We had that, and I think the other corner was taken up by Artway Alliance,
yes,
and they were over there doing their thing. So that whole back area didn't even count
yeah,
because that was just all just
stuff.
3 big giant things. Yeah, but it became something. It's unrecognizable. If you would have had the capability to go back in time and look at year one, and then come back up this year, it would be like, is this the same event? This
You
isn't even
wouldn't
the
believe
same
it.
thing.
Yeah, just the growth has been crazy.
Well, a lot of that is me kind of figuring things out as I go.
Yeah,
But it's just this network of authors that exist in the same universe. We all know each other. Like, how many people did you see that you recognized? I mean, obviously you had a new booth buddy that you didn't know, but how many people were sitting across from you or down the hall that you were just like, hey,
yeah,
hey,
yep,
and it becomes that. That's with any con. You'll see people you know, but like this is definitely, we get a lot of the same people that keep coming back. They just released a new book and they have to put it out.
yep,
So you're not going to see the same old books every single year. But everybody just knows each other. I have
yes.
attendees that come to every single one, and I love that. I love that they've been there since day one,
Yep,
and now they're running around the aisles, and like I feel like I'm going to need like a scooter this year.
you probably will.
500 feet long. That's 5 times the last location.
Yes,
I'm going to need a scooter.
just a small one.
Small one. I might get a golf cart, something. Get a rascal scooter, a hover round,
Put like a screaming horn on it or something.
right? Just a big, like, just a boat air horn. Just keep people on their toes. Get moving. Break up this aisle. I need to get by.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, so I bring a ton of authors in. Aside from yourself, have you found a favorite author at the event that you have been like, all right, I like your writing or them as a person, whatever?
I do. I'm blanking out on his name off the top of my head, but he writes. He's a comic artist. Oh, come
Oh boy, what is he comic? What are his comics?
on. He
I
was.
know everybody in there.
Um, he was positioned directly across from the gate opening at halfway.
Okay. What does his comic look like?
Black, white with the blood details in red.
Ah, yeah, it's got a skull on it.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh yeah. So it's funny. Me and my wife actually well, we joked amongst ourselves and then we said he reminded us of Jack Reacher.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's there, right? As soon as you're like,
You're not wrong.
yes, he is Jack Reacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually met him. So that's Hunt Comics.
Yeah.
I actually met Ed at Awesome Con. And he came by, I think he had a backpack full of comics. And he came up to me and Javier and he's like, "Hey, I'd love for you, you want to take issue 1 and I'd love for you to have this." And I said, "I'll do you one better. I have the perfect place for you to sell this. And I think I was right, because I mean he's got like 2 or 3, however many he's at now.
Yeah.
And it's eye-catching. He's got it on a shirt. I bet I need to get a shirt. Like I have shirts, but that's a cooler shirt. It's like my shirt, but with more blood.
It is.
But it's like the red that they use, just it's
It
vivid.
pops.
It pops. That, and he's just
He's
him and his
awesome
people,
dude.
like anybody that he brings in with him, they're all fantastic. And the comic is just fun.
It is.
That sounds terrible, but like
love
it's just a fun comic. If you're just into that old and if he ends up watching this, I don't know if this is an insult or a compliment, but like, you know, back when Image Comics was kind of trying to find their feet,
Yes.
and they had, I think the biggest properties that they had at the time were obviously, I think, Spawn.
Yep.
You had Spawn, Slapstick, I think was one of theirs.
That sounds right.
And you had Mars Attacks,
Yeah.
and Witchblade. Like you had like 4 or 5 big ones, but they were just very vivid. They were drawn wildly. That's what you're getting with this. You're getting like that OG Image Comics like enthusiasm with it. I loved this comics the second that I saw it, and I was like, I was like, I want you to keep your comic. I was like, keep it. I'll buy it from you at some point. But keep your comic right now.
Yep.
Save that for someone else. Peddle your wares to somewhere else. Grab another fan, because you're not going to convince me otherwise. I'm already in.
Yep.
But he actually hit me up like Wednesday or Thursday, like super late into the game, and he's like, "Hey, I know it's really late, but you got space?" I was like, "Anything for you, buddy." He's just that positive of an attitude.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you call it the comic book guy, the one guy that, you know, writes pictures for a living. Like, who's your favorite author? The comic guy. Comic book guy. But yeah, no, I would have to say that's a pretty good get. Actually, I have a did I buy any books? Oh, I avoided. I bought Fudge. I have to not buy books at my own event now, and I'm just like, I have my own books. I don't need any more books. I got from my wife bought books.
Yeah.
So I was just like, of course. I try not to, and then here come more books to the house anyway. She got he was across from you, Brian Paoni.
Yep.
His prison book, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago here. He wrote it sitting inside of a haunted penitentiary, and it's called These Walls Still Talk. And she picked that up because she was just like, I kept telling her about like the premise, and she's like, I'm gonna get Brian's book. I was like, okay, I guess. I mean, if there are worse things you can buy, I guess a book is okay. But yeah, there's just so much. I got Javier's book, the Tenebris.
Yes.
I have the audio book of that on Spotify. It's a long read, but that's a world builder.
Yep.
But it's good. Like, you're kind of like, okay, where's this headed? With yours, it's like, here's a dragon. Well, I know where this is headed. We're gonna get eaten by a dragon.
Yeah.
With his, I'm like, where is this headed? Because you're building all of these like lizard characters. Where are we going?
Yeah.
So it's still very good. I haven't just been like, dude, I can't get through your book. DNF. Yeah. It's captivating enough that I'm still getting through it, just in small chunks. I get through like 2-3 chapters, and I'm like, I need a break.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed his. I'm trying to think of anybody else that's in there that I've read the books of.
Another one that I like is Andrew Hurd and the Path of the Celts books.
Oh, the Celt books, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he's got 2.
Yes.
And I think he's knocking out a 3rd. Allegedly, probably, I'd imagine the goal is to have it by Fright Reads this fall. Because that's what we're all trying to do. We're like, come on, get the new book out, get the new book out. Yeah, his were kind of fun. I haven't read them. I've skimmed it a bit, and I'm like, okay, well, I have a rough idea. When I get time to sit down and read, y'all need to stop writing these big books. I need pamphlets, people, pamphlets. I need like 10 pages. Yeah, that's another one. I'm trying to think of who else. Like, I'm like almost literally doing a flyby. Like, who in there? But I mean, one of the guests for the fall show, Clown in the Cornfield, Adam Caesar. Dude, the movie comes out like in another week or so.
Yes.
Are you going to see it?
At some point, not right off the bat, but
yeah, you do. You need to see it like early access at midnight, falling asleep 10 times while you watch it. Then you have to see it again because you fell asleep. But I did we're trying to coordinate a date and time to go out and see this thing. I'm not going to see it, I think, on the release night, but I am going to see it like I think the following day. Yeah. But that's super exciting. Like that's all that an author can hope for, especially if it's good. Like they could make your book into a movie. It doesn't mean it'll be good. You know, you could get that like $50 shoestring budget, and there you go.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's. I mean, I guess my last question before we call it here. So if let's go with Hydras. Okay. Who is your main protagonists?
So that would be Rogue Whip, the dirigible pilot.
Okay, so Rogue Whip, the man that's featured on the cover getting eaten by a giant dragon.
Yeah.
So if they were to make this into a movie, who would play him? As of right now, like if anybody current, or you know what, we'll even open it up to, you know, past or present. If it's Tom Cruise, but 1990 Tom Cruise, you know, if you have like a specific era of a person.
I've thought about this a bit, and I would almost put Adam Driver in the role.
Adam Driver. I didn't see that coming. It's like Tom Hanks, and he's got to land this dirigible.
Chris Pratt. Robin thinks Chris Pratt. I mean, he could do it.
Yeah, because he did a couple of movies where he kind of plays a type of character that could do that, but
now
I don't know. Like, I mean, if you're looking at current actors, yeah, maybe Chris Pratt, but
I mean,
Adam Driver would bring a different vibe to it. Like, there's a stoicness to him.
Yes. And Rogue is emotionally clumsy in that regard. He's a business guy. He just has this mentality of it all. So Adam's stiffness would really be what portrays that character well. If you put Chris Pratt in that role, there's a side character named Hunter Smith. Okay. You would have to give that role to someone who just has a different kind of dynamic with him. And I think back to one of the, I think it was Guardians of the Galaxy 3, where you got Chris Pratt and why am I blanking out on his name?
Batista?
No.
The Groot?
The guy that plays the rookie. Good God. Why am I?
Wow.
Wow. Nathan Fillion. There we go.
Okay. Yeah. When you said the guy that plays the rookie, I'm like,
yeah.
You mean the show, The Rookie, or do you mean the rookie in the movie? And I'm like, rewatching the movie in my head, like, was there no? There was
no. So you would put Chris Pratt and Nathan Fillion on the scene. They both have a different kind of sci-fi humor. You could definitely go that direction with the characters, and that would work.
You could just use Nathan Fillion as your pilot, and just make him the captain again. It's not his first time piloting a ship of any sort, but yeah, I mean that would be. I've only had that question asked of me once, and I was like, my cast of characters for my sci-fi series is lower 20s, and I'm like, other than Tom Holland, I don't know any like low age actors at this point. I don't know any of them. I'm sure they're great, but I don't know any of their names. I'm like, the only one I know is Spider-Man. That's it. And I don't think Tom Holland's a good fit.
Yeah,
But yeah, I could see Fillion, but I think
now the antagonist.
Got another for Nathan Fillion. Got one for Chris Pratt.
Let's
Taking a poll here, I guess. Here's a Lord Albert. Who would be Lord Albert? Is a character.
So there are two people that I would probably put in for that. One of them would be Michael Gross from Tremors. He just has his performance in the fourth one specifically when he was playing his grandfather, Hiram. The attitude that he brought to that would translate well for this really evil person. But someone who could do it better would be Richard Brake.
Okay.
He would do it awesome.
There you go. Well, those are it's always a fun, wish list that'll never be fulfilled. So I've been throwing it up here every once in a while. If anybody wants to track down Dan before the event, go to creatureauthor.com. You can find all of his books. Sure, like the rest of us, you have some kind of blog or something that people can keep up with your daily happenings, find out what your next event is, all of that good stuff. But go to creatureauthor.com. You'll find all of Dan's stuff. You can buy his books. Can they buy them directly from you or various bookstores if you happen to find yourself in one? You can always ask, tell them that they should carry it. And if they don't carry it, then they're wrong. And then when you're done that, we only have one event to worry about now. So you can go to frightreads.com, go to Fright Reads Book Festival, get some tickets, which is right down here below me. Go to frightreads.com. You can view, as of right now, it's not up to date, but pretty dang close. We have all of the authors, all of the vendors. We have all of the special guests listed. Tickets are available. Kids 12 and under are always free with a paying adult. So what's the holdup? What are we missing? Before this message goes away, Ben said Michael Gross carried the Tremors series. I agree with that. Yeah, that's a fair statement to make. But outside that, if you've been watching this or if you're doing a rewatch, down there we've been listing everybody that is coming. That is the most up-to-date list as of like today. But get your tickets, frightreads.com. Come see us. It's going to be September 13th and 14th at the Howard County Fairgrounds. That is all the way out in the middle of nowhere in a field, but we're inside of a really awesome building. We're going to have so many authors, too many authors, a DeLorean, a Jurassic Park Jeep, an Ecto-1, and a million and one other things that I haven't even discussed or put publicly, which will be in the next few weeks. So keep an eye on Facebook and social media pages that we have. Follow the website, and we will see you in September. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and I will see you all next Wednesday for the next one, whoever that is. The calendar knows. I don't. So we'll see you.